Howdy. Thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate it. But my name is Alex Cooper, and I am a Senior Student Service Coordinator with the Office of Care and Civility. And today we're hosting a Be Well Student Wellness panel, where our panelists are going to discuss how they maintain their mental and physical health, how they manage stress, and how they prioritize maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And so I'm going to let our panelists introduce themselves. So we're going to start here. And just introduce yourself with your first and last name, what academic program you're in, and then what's your favorite self-care activity?
Hi guys, so my name is Cierra Black. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a second year PA student actually, and my favorite thing to do for self-care, if I can and have the time, is to take a nap.
Hello, so my name is Mathew, Reyna. I'm a third-year pharmacy student. My favorite thing to do for self-care would be watch sports.
Hi everybody, I am Dhruvi Pradhan and I'm a second-year MPH epidemiology student. And my favorite activity for self-care is to sketch. I love sketching.
Hi everyone, my name is Kudakwashe Murinda. I am a third-year PhD candidate in the School of Biomedical Sciences. And I also like napping, but I would say one of my favorite things to do as well is just driving around, listening to music. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Donkor and I'm a second year PhD student in the School of Biomedical Sciences. For self-care, I like to take strolls to get in tune with myself, know what is going on, what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and just give a pat on my shoulder.
Hi guys, I'm Navi. I'm a second year TCOM student. One of my favorite things to do is definitely listen to music and right now reading.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So I'm going to get into our questions. We have a few, but my hope is just to give each of you guys a chance to kind of respond and share your perspective, because our hope is that our participants over in the audience get to kind of leave with some takeaways on how to maintain a healthy lifestyle while being in a rigorous program, right? So let's get into the first question. What strategies do you employ to manage stress and prevent burnout as an HSC student? So we'll start with Cierra.
So that's a really good question. Actually, that was something that it took like a couple weeks to maybe like the first month or two when I started PA school to figure out. But it's definitely like being organized. I live off of my planner, and what's great is like eValue, where we get all of our schedule. They give us all of the dates where we're supposed to be and everything. So I put all of that information in to my planner so that I know where I need to be exactly what time, and then I plan my life around that. So I'll plan in like study time. I'll plan in like, going to see my friends, working out, XYZ. And that alleviates a lot of the stress off of me, just because I know what I'm responsible for every single day. And then I also use the sticky notes like feature on my iPad, or I guess my laptop, to like write down extra stuff too. So that also helps.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest things is definitely time management and prioritization. I put everything in my Outlook calendar. It's busy all the time. I like to know what events are going on at all times, so then I can choose what I want to do. Yeah.
Well, I second what she said. Organizing really helps, and what I find helps more is writing down the deadlines first, so I know what I need to tackle before and what can wait till later. And also assignments, please do them the day you get them. That really helps, because we spent like the first semester waiting till the last minute to finish the assignments and submit them, and we found that it was really overwhelming. So we try our best to do it the same day that we get them, because it's fresh in your mind and you can actually finish it much faster than waiting till the last minute.
I'll start by giving a disclaimer and saying I'm definitely a work in progress in figuring things out. But there are a couple of things I found really help, and one of them is writing down little things I have to do, so like a to-do list. Because sometimes if I have things in my mind, I'm like, oh, I have to do this and that, and when it's all in my brain, it feels like it's a lot. But when I put it down and write it on paper, I can tick it off and I get some satisfaction. And I find that also talking to other people around me helps me. It helps me put things into perspective. And yeah, sometimes you get good feedback about how they're doing stuff.
So I definitely agree with what everyone on the panel has said. So time management, prioritizing what you have to do. But I'd also want to say that I try not to overwhelm myself with tasks, so I don't take too much to make my plate full and overflow. So I assume that each day I have time, so I'll say that is a plate. I have activities I need to do. So if there's something I can't do, I'll just put that aside and not feel like I have to do all those things to be a heroine, because that's not the aim of doing a PhD. And I also seek for help when I need it. So I'm not shy to say, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, I need this skill, but I'm not good at it. Can you teach me how to do it? So that helps me prevent burnout.
I'm kind of the same as everyone else. Like, I have to make myself an hourly schedule. Like, even if I have to write down, shower, brush your teeth, make your bed, stuff like that. So, like, prioritizing my time really helps. But also, like, this year, I'm trying to work on doing, like, a little bit every single day, especially for school, because I feel like I end up cramming everything towards the end, especially last year. So just doing something productive every day, even if it's for like half an hour.
Good answers, y'all. I heard a lot about scheduling, using your Outlook calendar, using a to-do list, right? And also giving yourself grace. Like, we're all human. Y'all are human first, and then like students second, right? So sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we forget things, and it's okay to allow yourself to do that and then get back on the ball and figure out how you're going to prioritize it next time, right? So great answers, y'all. I love that. So the next question, how do you prioritize self-care and mental health while juggling the demands of your education?
Okay, so again, disclaimer, like, you are a human being. You will make mistakes, and like, this is a process and you're learning and everything, but like, you also have to live your life outside of school. So what's really important to me is maintaining all of those relationships with either my family, my significant other, my friends, still making time to see them. So I try to at least do one fun thing a week, which is sad, I know. But you know, when you're in this program, like, you got to make sacrifices. But again, like, I'm not willing to compromise those relationships that are important to me just for the sake of like getting an A on a test. Like, I'll still be a PA at the end of the day. It might not have been like the greatest grade, but like, I'll make it through, but I'm willing to do that, to still make time to see the people that I love.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in taking care of yourself first, because if you're not able to help yourself, then you can't really help others in a meaningful way. So yeah, I like to do things on my free time that just make me feel good and relax, because with school and everything, things can get so stressful and hectic. There's always something going on. You're always going to be thinking about something related to school, even during your free time. And I think for me, just finding ways where I can escape, whether that be like through exercise or watching a movie for an hour and a half, a couple episodes of Netflix, just finding ways where you can not focus so much on school.
I actually agree with the both of them, because it took me a while, and actually people around me, to tell me that it's okay to pause. I don't have to be on the go 24/7. I can take a pause, I can take a break. I don't have to study today. If I don't feel like it, I can do it tomorrow. I have to know myself and my body first, and my mind, to know that I can be productive today, even if it's just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's still productivity. It does not mean that you didn't do anything in the day. So yes, what I would say is just know when you need to take a pause. That would really help you.
Yeah, I'll say one thing that helps me is acknowledging the stressful phases in grad school, because stress is inevitable, I feel, and when you try to avoid it, I think then it takes over. But when you acknowledge it, like, okay, I have an upcoming big exam, this is going to be stressful, but I'll survive it. It's part of grad school, we'll be fine. And then I also like to have little treats after a big stressful, milestone, and that kind of helps me go through it. I'm like, okay, you're going for dinner after this, it makes me feel like, okay, we can work through this.
So when it comes to self-care and juggling it with the stress of grad school, I think intentionality is very key. So you know that, yes, it's stressful, but I also have to take care of my mental health. So I'll make time for this. I'd have to go to the gym maybe once a week. I'd have to take a stroll maybe twice a week talk to friends. It's intentional because you wouldn't really have a time to say, oh, I have nothing to do. You always have something to do. And then it goes back to prioritizing. So one thing I learned that I want to share with you is before you start each day or before you start your week, you can say, what does a successful day look like? So for me today, a successful day looks like I'm doing the first phase of my IHC, taking images of some brain sections, and going to class. So if I'm able to do these 3 things, I'm good. So I end my day feeling fulfilled and accomplished. So that is a self-care toolkit that I would want to share with you as well.
So like someone else said, I feel like it's really important to like listen to your body and your mind. So the moment if I'm studying and the moment I realize like nothing is being processed right now, I'm done for the day. It's either like I take a break and then I come back to it, but I feel like you have to be very self-aware of yourself, but also you do have to like have things to look forward to, you know, and not that you're not going to look forward to studying and, you know, doing what's going to help you in your future for your career, but like something outside of school, like with your friends. So if I need alone time, I will take alone time. If I want to hang out with my roommates, I'll hang out with my roommates.
I love that. I heard a lot about prioritizing your personal relationships, right? Doing things you enjoy to refill your cup and treat yourself. That's my favorite one right there. I love to treat myself. So the next question, can you share some tips or techniques for effectively managing time and staying organized as a student?
So again, I stand by planning and just like making sure that you're organized. But also if you like find that you're struggling, I've had really good experiences with the faculty here, especially like in, you know, my program specifically, but I've gotten close to a lot of faculty members. So if I'm struggling specifically with like managing one of their classes, like everybody is always like willing to like meet with me or like talk to me, even if it's like after class or like scheduling a meeting. Like reach out to your faculty because like they want to see you win, they want to see you succeed, and they want to pour everything into you. So take advantage of that. And if you know that's not working, there are on campus. I think there's an on-campus counselor that's in the IREB building, and I know the student services like center. All the people there are really nice. So just reach out to them.
I know for me, when it comes to effectively studying, I like to think of each class differently. So with certain classes, I know I'll have to sit down for like an hour and just read through the material, talk it out loud, maybe with a group of friends. But some other courses, maybe it's just bulk memorization, Quizlet, nonstop, stuff like that. So I think really knowing how to study effectively for each class has really helped me.
I would actually second what they said. Also, I find that studying with friends kind of really helps. Also understand some topics that you may not have understood, and the faculty is really great, like, especially School of Public Health. You can approach them anytime. So yes, if you find it's hard to, you know, understand what you're doing or hard to manage your time, you could reach out to them. Also, I think the CAP offers the services to help you time manage, which is also very, very helpful. So you could always reach out to them.
Again, for me, managing time, I think writing down a list helps me because I can look at what I need to do. And then for my program, it's pretty flexible because it's research, it's mostly self-paced. So I find it helps me to work in the times that I know I'm more productive. Like I feel I have ownership of my time. So planning ahead and thinking of, okay, I want to get this experiment done in this time. I think that really helps me. So planning ahead.
So to add to what Kuda said, planning ahead is very essential, especially in this research program. But aside that, I think sometimes you just have to talk to someone. You could talk to senior colleagues, say, hey, I'm in second year, I'm freaking out. You're in third year, how did you go about it? Then Kuda would say, hey, I also freaked out, but these are some things you can do. It's normal to freak out, but you've got this. So talking to others is also essential.
So I make like a weekly schedule and like things that I have to get done every day. But I think another like super important thing is having like an accountability partner, which for me, that's most of the time my friends. But I like have my mom call me in the morning, every morning to wake me up. so she makes sure like I'm out of bed. So using like the people around you to like hold you accountable to what you have to get done and making sure you're staying on top of it is really nice.
I like that. I have a younger brother who's currently in undergrad at San Francisco State. And I tell him all the time, tap into your resources, whether that's your family, your faculty, your staff. And I always tell students, you guys pay for these resources. You pay the faculty, you pay us. So you should be taking full advantage of every single one of these resources, okay? So like, don't waste it. Don't waste your money, because I hate wasting my money. So make sure you're using your resources. So our next question is, what resources or support systems do you have or find helpful in promoting your overall well-being during school?
So full disclosure, I use CAP. I do tutoring like 2 hours every week, just because I think that that's super helpful. There are people that have taken these courses and they can like kind of direct you into focusing like what you need to know. That's a lot more high yield. And then as far as like mental health, I do go to therapy. I think it's really important and I'm very open about it, because this is a very unique and stressful experience that we're all like going through, whether it be looking different, that's fine, but it's still like unnatural to be doing this. So I, at some point, need to like decompress and talk about like how I'm feeling and processing all of that stuff, and not just letting it sit. So that's something that I like took upon myself to get involved with, and I think it's helped tremendously, just managing it all.
I think one of the biggest resources that's offered here on campus is the fitness center. I work there, full disclosure, but it is nice after a long, stressful day, or maybe after a stressful exam, just going there. You could just be walking for a bit on the treadmill, lifting weights or whatever. I think it's really good to decompress after a stressful day, or just whenever, honestly.
Well, to what he said, I go to the fitness center to de-stress. So yes, that's a great way to do that. Especially like after a tiring day, even walking on the treadmill for like 10 minutes and just listening to the music you like really, really helps. Also, I think the OCC is coming up with a mindful corner for all of us. I think that's going to be really, really helpful to de-stress, especially when you're on campus. Or, weekly, we have decided as our roommates that we would go out somewhere just to explore the city. Even if it's just the same joint, that's fine, but go out. Let's talk about what happened throughout the week. Let's talk about what you're feeling and what I'm feeling and discuss our feelings. And if we find that, we're suffering from the same thing, then we could either talk to faculty or maybe look for a therapy session. That I find really does help. If you talk to somebody about what you're feeling, always be open.
Yeah, I find that I have great peers. They're here, I guess. So because our room is all us grad students, I find that really, really helps, because we're each doing our individual projects, but because we're in this boat together, we can kind of walk through it and share some of our struggles. And because I feel like, I'm not the only one in this boat, it helps me. I also use my husband. He gets a lot of my stressful stories. And I'm excited about the Mindful Corner. I think that would just be nice, like words of affirmation on there, like you can do it. I think it gives you the little boost you need sometimes.
So I know for sure that CAP is a very great resource to use. In first year, during orientation, they handed out some documents, and they had effective studying tips, and it was really good. I applied and it was good for me. And like Kuda also said, friends are very good. They're essential to making progress. Because sometimes you're like, but you have a friend to say, you've got this. It's really good to have friends to talk to and family around to discuss some things. Sometimes you just need someone to tell you, hey, you're doing good. You're doing very well. You're doing amazing.
I've found that like older students have helped me a lot, like people that I've become friends with that are like 3rd and 4th years, because they've like, been through everything and they know what you're going through. But also because I'm on campus a lot, if they're like putting on an event or something, I'll usually go because, they got like free food and you hang out with your friends and it's like really fun. I think they're having one tomorrow, or they're having like a multicultural week. Yeah, so that's gonna be really fun, like just random things like that.
Like that. Yeah, I know that like the university tries to, because we know like you're here for academics, right? But there's also like a personal piece, right? So making sure you're connecting with people on campus, connecting with your faculty, connecting with your peers. For the next question, let's see, what strategies do you use to stay motivated and maintain a sense of purpose throughout your education journey? That's a good question.
So knowing that it'll end is literally what like is gonna get me through. And the fact that I'll be actually one day practicing like what I'm studying is literally what keeps me going. Because I can't, for my whole life, I can't just be getting lectures on stuff. Like I'm actually going to have to put this into practice. And to know that like I'm getting close to that goal of like going to rotations next year after being in class for like a year and a half is so exciting. And I know I'm like right there at the end, but like to just know that the hard part is like almost done. It's just I have to put it all into practice. So just having the end goal in mind.
For me, I think one of the ways I stay motivated is thinking about the reason why I'm doing this. So it can be different reasons for different people, but for me personally, it's to help support me, my family, my future family. That's what I think about whenever I am struggling or just have those moments where I'm doubting what I'm doing. I know that it'll pay off in the end.
For me, I would say it's the place I work at. I work at Healthy Start, and we deal with a lot of data from, infants and maternal and child health, and that actually keeps me motivated because I know that I'm doing this for a reason. I want to see an impact, and to get that impact, I know I have to work hard and graduate, and work in this field in the future to make a better place for upcoming mothers and children, and that's actually what keeps me motivated. Yeah.
I'm studying glaucoma, and my mom has glaucoma, so it's close to home. That's easy for me to be motivated.
For me, I have a background in pharmacy, and I've worked with a number of people, seen people fail on therapies, and my long-term goal is to develop skills to contribute to the field of drug discovery and development. And to achieve that, I need to do a PhD. So I have my long-term goal, I have my short-term goals, so whenever I have to do something that's challenging, I'm like, hey, you can do it. It's possible to do it. Someone has done it before. You're going to fail, but yeah, you still do it again and you get it. So let's look at the goal, let's look at the long-term goal, let's look at the beauty, and that keeps me going.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's really hard to stay motivated. But I think for me, like, of course I wanna be a doctor in the future, but I feel like reminding myself that right now there's nothing else I would rather be doing. Like I love to study and I definitely don't wanna be working a 9 to 5 as a 23-year-old. So I love what I'm doing. I love the people that I have around me.
Good motivation. That's a good motivator, I'll tell you. No, definitely. I think what I'm hearing is just knowing your why, knowing the purpose of it all, wanting to make an impact. So if you ever lose that, like, remind yourself, you need to write it down. I know when I was in grad school, I had to do that because I was in a 3-year program, intensive program, and I lost my why for a while. Okay, I really did, but we made it through. So I would encourage y'all to make sure know why you're doing it. What's the point? What's the purpose? Because if you don't know, then it can feel very empty. What you're pursuing can feel very empty. So just be mindful of that. So next question. How do you recognize the signs of burnout in yourself or your fellow cohort students?
So I'm in the PA program and we're like we have didactic 18 months, right? And we don't really get a ton of breaks. And so I know I'm getting burnt out when it is like approaching a break and I'm, going home, I'm studying every night and I'm literally crashing like at my desk. Like that's how I know that I'm like, all right, like this is getting to the point where this is like becoming too much. So just recognizing that like if you're going to sleep within like 3 minutes, once you close your eyes, like maybe you need to like sleep a little bit more, maybe you need to like take a step back, but just recognizing that like your body needs sleep, and if it's telling you like that's what you need, like listen to it.
For me, I think of like burnout is when I'm studying a material for something and just after a while it's not processing. I can take a break, doesn't matter how long, it still won't be processing. That's when I know I'm burnt out. And I think my body also will physically tell me like, hey, you need to chill, you need to take a break. Sleep, that's a big thing. Yeah, just when things just aren't making sense anymore, and I've been looking at it for an hour or two, and it's just not going through.
Mine's a mixture of both. For me, I feel that sometimes it is, yes, sleeping as soon as I hit the bed, but also that no matter how much I sleep, I still feel tired. I wake up the next morning still feeling exhausted, and I just can't understand why. That's when I know I'm burnt out. Today is the day I take a break. I do not touch my books and at least take some time to myself. If it's reading or go for a walk or listening to good music or even cleaning up my room. Just doing something that will help me relax would help, yes.
Yeah, mine is the same as these guys. So when I find that I can't focus, then I know it's getting to that burnout phase. And sometimes you really just feel tired, and I would wake up in the morning and just know I have to sleep some more. And I don't really need motivation to sleep because I like sleeping anyway. But sometimes I'm like, okay, if I try to focus or if I try to go on right now, I'm just gonna be sleepy. So yeah, that's how I know.
So I know that I'm burned out when I can't focus, like you said, when I have a lot of headaches without knowing what the cause is actually. So I know that. And when I feel tired throughout the day, regardless of how many hours I sleep, I know that I'm burnt out. So I need to take a break, talk to a friend, watch a movie, or do something, and then come back later.
For me, I know I'm burnt out when I'm not stressed. Like, I think having a little bit of stress for me is a good motivation to keep studying, but like, we take so many exams that you almost get numb to the process, and you know, it wears you out, and eventually I'm like, oh, I don't care. So if I don't have the motivation to study, something's wrong.
Yeah, that's a little dangerous. Yeah. I did want to ask though, like, when y'all recognize the signs in like your peers or your friends, do y'all say anything? Like, how do y'all approach that? Feel free to answer.
So usually, since our cohort is really small, so we do we're in touch with each other a lot. So it's either a group meet. Sometimes, actually, since we know each other so well, sometimes it just takes a text. You know, like, you know what? I don't think you're feeling well. You should please just take a break, because we feel the stress in that message. I'm like, I can literally hear you. So yeah, so we call each other out on that, and we tell them that it's okay to take a break, and if you need help, you always have us. So we try to help each other out.
Okay, I feel like people have seen it in me. Yeah, they've asked if I'm okay. I think that's a great question. I think maybe that's something I should look out for, like seeing it when my peers are stressed. There are times when there are times when I have seen maybe some peers, but if they're going through a milestone that you know this is inevitably going to be stressful, there will be some level of stress that I've seen. But they're going through a milestone, so maybe I do not say it. But maybe that's definitely something I should look out for.
Okay, so let me reduce it to my office. I know how everybody behaves in a regular day. So maybe for one person, if I see this person laughing too much, because this person has told me when I'm stressed, I laugh too much about nothing, about the slightest things, I'm like, okay, is everything fine? For another person, if I see she's too quiet, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Are you good? And today, I had to do a procedure, and I had a 10-minute break. So within those 10 minutes, I said, oh, let me close my eyes for 2 minutes. And I opened my eyes in 2 minutes, and I saw two of my peers standing and saying, Nina, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I am. I just want to close my eyes. So yeah, knowing your friends and making sure you're there for them when you see some changes, it's good. It's good.
I think my friends and I are pretty good at telling each other, like, you know, like, oh, I'm losing motivation or I'm exhausted, that type of thing. But I feel like all of us are big proponents of like telling each other, if you need a break, take a break. Like, if you even need space from us, take that space from us. So just like validating their feelings, but also like telling them it's okay. We're like all going through it and we're here for you. But yeah, if you need anything, we're here.
No, that's perfect. I think sometimes, just even in normal life, right? Sometimes you're looking for someone to validate what you're experiencing, and so when it's a friend like giving you permission to just like take a breather, like it feels nice. So I was just curious if any of y'all had done that or experienced that yourself. And like if you're in the space where like you see your friend going through it, it's okay for y'all to say, hey, you don't seem like yourself. What's going on? And give someone the space to talk, okay? Because sometimes we need that, or we're just looking for it, right? What are some common causes or triggers of burnout among higher education students, and how can they be mitigated?
I think it's the, expectation that you master everything, like within the allotted amount of time that they give you. But you have to almost understand, like, that is unreasonable, and like to like be perfect is like not going to happen. So just like understanding that like you can like learn the information, understand it, but like with time, it's gonna like take that time to like master it. So like just, giving yourself the space to like make mistakes and to know that like I don't have to be perfect to still be fine in whatever program I'm in.
Yeah, I would just piggyback off of that. It's definitely the expectations that are put on us as students to know everything on every subject, which might be possible for some people, but for me personally, it's not. Yeah.
Well, I would add to that and say it's also that they expect you to know everything in one go. Like the moment they teach you, they expect you to understand. Well, everyone has a different time to understand things. I may understand it quickly, but my colleague may take a day or two to understand the concept. To give us that time to process of what is taught and actually understand what we're being taught so we can apply it in the future, I think that would help. But yes, that's what I've noticed, that we are expected to just know everything at one time when they teach us everything. And like, okay, you got it. That's it. Don't come back to me.
I believe in research, it's a little unique because we're trying to find information that's not quite there yet. And sometimes you're doing stuff, you're doing an experiment, and you just can't get to the bottom of it. It's not making sense. The results you're getting aren't really tallying with what you thought you would get. So in the end, you're like, okay, I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't seem to be getting results that are making sense. Is this something I should even pursue? Is this something that's going to somehow make sense at the end? How do you interpret this? So I think I would say that for me.
I think sometimes we have huge expectations from ourselves, not from outside but ourselves. So you know that in first year, you're learning new courses, you're learning new skills. If it goes wrong the first time, it's fine. Because it's the first time, you haven't done it before. So you should give your room space to have errors, have mistakes, give yourself room to fail. And if it goes well, yeah, it's gone well. Because I remember I did a technique and it didn't go well the first time. And I spoke to a postdoc in our lab, and she's like, yeah, the first time, it's your first time, don't worry. The second time is going to get better. So the second time it did get better. And she said, ooh, I like your results. And I'm like, yeah, it's my second time. So give yourself room to make errors, give yourself room to grow. Because that's how you get better. It doesn't happen overnight.
This is definitely also like an expectations thing. I think like when you, like let's say I finish my school stuff, it's always that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I always have more to do. So if it's not school, it's extracurriculars or it's volunteering or it's research. So like that feeling of like I can always do more is like constantly there.
How do y'all fight that? Like, how do you mitigate it personally?
I have to constantly tell myself that I will not master everything in one go, like they're saying. Like, it's not happening. And like, I've been in school long enough to know that like, it didn't happen. And that's okay. Like, there are going to be plenty of opportunities for you to like, actually solidify that information, whether it be rotations, whether it be like you get further along in your program. Like, it's okay not to get at that first pass, but you have to like constantly tell yourself that it's okay, and to know that you're still progressing in the program, you're still successful, you will still be and graduate and like be in whatever profession you're going to be in, but just the constant reminder of it is okay.
For me, I think I've gotten better at what I can expect from myself. I know I'm not going to be A+ on every exam, but I'm going to try my best on everything that I can do.
Well, for me, I've noticed that, it takes me a while to tell myself that it's okay if I don't understand it on the first time. I will take my time and understand it. And if I still cannot, then it's okay to ask for help. So realizing that is what helped me mitigate those expectations, because I'm like, everyone studies differently, and just because I don't understand it today does not make me any less stupider than my colleagues. I mean, we all came here after undergraduation or post-graduation, and we all know what we're doing. So it does not make me stupid to not know today. I will know tomorrow. So just to understand that and to tell yourself it's okay, that's what helps.
Yeah, I'll say balance is a big thing. So like balance between pushing yourself and giving yourself grace, because we're in grad school, there's a certain level of wanting to push yourself and being in some level of uncomfort zone to grow. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. But having that balance between pushing yourself and just giving yourself grace. At some point, you're like, okay, this is too much. And then also being in research, again, knowing that results you don't expect are still results. You're adding to the body of knowledge. So your hypothesis might not be proven to be right, to be what you were expecting, but whatever results you do get, if you did good science, they're adding some knowledge. If you try a method and it doesn't work, then you know how not to do something, which is not as satisfying, but it's still adding to the body of knowledge.
For me, I try to set realistic goals. So, not to say I want to be average, but I wouldn't say for the first time I want to be the best. Being the best is good, but don't settle for average if you know you can be better. And giving yourself room to grow and learn. So my friend told me a quote and it stayed with me, that in life you win some and you learn some. So if I do something and it doesn't go well, it doesn't feel good, yes, but I'll go back and say, hey, where did I go wrong? So I have learned that this is a mistake. So next time, if I have to do it, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to change it. So you win some and you learn some. It makes it easier for me.
I think like not comparing yourself to other people is a huge thing with this, because like your best is going to be different from someone else's best. And just like, asking yourself, like, am I doing my best? And if I'm not, that's okay. I'll try again next week.
No, that's wonderful. I think it's just remembering, like, you're in school, and the whole point of being in school is to learn and to grow, right? So I think that's a great takeaway. So 2 more questions, y'all, and then we're going to have room for questions from the audience if y'all have some. So are there any specific wellness programs or initiatives that have been particularly beneficial to you as an HSC student? I know y'all mentioned a few already, but.
Not necessarily like wellness, but just I really have benefited from CAP. I know I've said it like 10 times, but I really think that is such a great resource that they offer on campus, and I wish that more people would take the opportunity just to see what they're about, or to even consider doing tutoring. I know there's like a stigma and everything, but like it's not bad. Like it can be just you talking through concepts, or tutors quizzing you. Like it doesn't have to be like you're struggling with information. I use it as an additional resource to make sure that I'm understanding concepts that maybe I might have missed, or they would have pointed out to me that I wouldn't have figured out on my own. So it's just to make sure that I'm supplementing my info.
So within the School of Pharmacy, it's not necessarily a wellness initiative, but there's so many organizations on campus, and they're always hosting different events. So I think just going to those with friends, socializing, meeting new people, I think that's really benefited me as far as wellness goes.
I actually would like to second that, because that's just fun. I like going to these events. You meet new people, you see different things, you see the ideas that different people have, and you're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. So yes, that really helps. And also, yes, our school also has different organizations. Also, we have this Tuesday where we have Snack Tuesdays. We all look forward to it. So like, oh yeah, we get snacks. Even the small things actually matter a lot. So yes, I agree with what he said.
Yeah, I also like the little activities we have around campus because, yeah, we're here as students, but we're humans, we're living through this time. So, little activities where you go out, you're outdoors, there's games that are being played, or there are goodies. I like goodies and free food. It just makes it, you take some time out of the zone of school and learning, and it's nice.
So we have a number of resources I like. We have many, and I like that we have an international student organization. So we had cultural night last year. We saw culture from different places, and it was beautiful. I liked it. It was after a very tough exam, and it was a nice way to de-stress. And I also like an initiative in the School of Biomedical Sciences. That's for peer mentoring. So you have someone who is gone ahead of you, mentor you, and it's really good. So I had some third years now mentor me for a milestone. That was my oral qualifying exam, and I think that was really good. So great resources available.
I also really like the events that the school puts on the Met Lawn. Those are my favorite. But other than that, I know they have we have like sports club, and there's a wilderness club, and they do like hiking and camping trips. So that's not school associated, in a way for you to just escape from academics, I guess.
The escape is necessary sometimes. Okay. Our last question: how has your intentionality towards well-being changed over the course of your program, and how has your self-care evolved over the academic journey?
I think that I prioritize it more now. I think first semester was really hard, just getting used to grad school and the rigor of everything. And I just thought that I had to study 24 hours of the day, and I felt guilty when I wasn't studying. But I found that now that I give myself breaks and I let myself see the people that I love, and give myself time to actually take a brain break, I'm doing better because I actually take the time to reset so that I come back to the material refreshed. And it's significantly made my life a lot better. And also I feel like I'm learning more and being more intentional about when I'm actually studying.
I've definitely put a bigger focus on mental health and well-being as my time at HSC has progressed. My first year I got to campus, I was a new freshman, and I thought, let me just study all day, do the best I can in courses, and not focus on my well-being or anything like that. And it did not pay off. I realized very quickly that I needed to prioritize myself and my mental health in order to do well in those classes. No amount of studying was going to make me feel good, and I definitely focus on it a lot more now.
Well, yes, the first semester was the same. I'm actually from India, so it was really new coming to a different country altogether. And grad school here is completely different from what we had back home. So yes, that was a little difficult to adapt to it. And I find that because I took some time to, think about it and give my mental health priority, I think that it's helped me progress much better as a person and also as a student at HSC.
I remember when I started grad school, during orientation, there was a lot of emphasis on wellness resources that were on campus, and CAB, and all the resources you could reach out to. And at that time, I thought, okay, this is a bit much. We're not going to need it like that. But definitely, when I started grad school, it was a lot. Grad school in first year hit me a lot. So, yeah, my thing about wellness and mental health has definitely changed. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to talk to people about what you're going through. It's okay to reach out to the resources you have around you.
I agree with everything they've said, every single thing. So unlike the undergrad studies where you just have to basically learn what is already known and pass exams and move on, for research you have to come up with something new, come up with new knowledge to the field of knowledge that is already present. So it's very demanding. In this process or program, I have learned to give myself room to grow. I have learned to ask for help when I need help. I have also learned to take breaks because it's very essential. And I've learned to prioritize my mental health. So Kuda and I have been doing this. So you take a break and then ask yourself, hey, are you okay? is this fine? There's some people this sounds foreign to, and they're like, what are you guys doing? This is not, it's something people don't really know, but it's very helpful. So taking time off to ask yourself, so outside what I'm doing, I'm not a robot. How am I feeling? What do I want to do? How do I want to do it? At what pace do I want to go? What expectations, what milestones do I have to meet? And how do I have to go about it? So yeah, prioritizing mental health in general.
So because of how like high school and college went for me, I knew like I had to prioritize my mental health coming into grad school. But I think like working on that like work-life balance and even picking up on when I may be doing too much self-care and not doing enough studying, you know, but finding that balance and being able to say like, I did my work, I deserve a break. Okay, I'm done with my break, I'm about to work again. So.
Good answers, y'all. I feel like while you're going to be a practitioner soon and researcher soon. So while you're in school, like this is the perfect opportunity to start thinking about, okay, what does self-care look like? What does balance look like? This is where you should be trialing and erroring all the things, right? And so figure out what works best for you, because when you're a doctor and you're like got people's lives in your hands, it's probably going to be a lot tougher to say, oh, I'm burnt out. How do I navigate this, right? When you should just use right now to figure out what your triggers are, right? So just take advantage of this time, y'all. Thank you so much to our panelists. I really appreciate you for providing all this insight. It was really amazing. Did anybody have any questions for us?
Hi, my name is Brenna Heffley, and I'm a third-year PhD candidate. And I have a question for anybody who's willing to answer. So sometimes I tend to look on the negative side of things, and then like I start to gather like everything's going wrong, my experiments keep failing, I made a bad grade on an exam and everything, and I just feel like nothing's going my way. And it's like the crushing weight of failure is on me. So have you guys ever experienced this before, and how do you guys deal with it?
Okay, so I am in the same office with Brenna, and I will say Brenna, well, okay, I looking from the outside, I'm like, Brenna has it figured out. Yeah, I think you have, of course I know you have things you're working through, challenging yourself. From my outside, I'm like, okay, Brenna has it figured out, I'm trying to be like you. Maybe looking at the things that are going well also helps, because your mind can play tricks on you, and it's so easy to fixate on the things that you're not doing well, but there are things that you're doing right. So maybe sometimes intentionally looking at what did I do good, what have I achieved that I wanted to achieve, looking at what you've come from. We're in grad school, we have achieved so much to get here. I mean, I think less than 5% of the world population have gone to grad school. We're doing pretty amazing. So yeah, I think that would help.
Well, I totally understand what you felt, because first semester, one of the subjects, I'm like, I'm failing. I'm just failing. I can't understand what's happening. But yes, what I thought really helped me was talking to somebody. Having that one person, even if it's a friend, your parent, whoever, just one person to tell them that, you know, I feel like a failure and I don't know what to do. So I have one best friend who's been with me for 26 years, and she's the only one who tells me, you know, you got this. You've been through so much. You are in USA. You're graduating soon. You've done so much. So yes, you got this. You're fine. So that really helps.
So Brenna, I would want to answer your question with what you have on your t-shirt. I tried. You tried and it didn't work out. So you'll go back, find someone who's good at it. Hey, I tried, it didn't work out. What do you think? The person would walk you through. You find resources online. You find a way around it. You talk to friends. Yes, you have tried. You have made significant progress. You failed, yes, but you tried. And you'd get better outcomes. Or even in failing, if someone should come to you, hey, I did this thing and I failed, you'd be like, yeah, I tried it the same way and I failed. Do it this way. So it's something we all go through, and we all have to give ourselves that grace to fail, but come back stronger.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions? Okay. Do any of our panelists have anything else they want to say? Any last words? Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your participation. We really appreciate you for coming and just taking it all in. We hope to host some more events like this, and it's great to get the student perspective and for y'all to get to connect in this way. So it was really enjoyable for me to see just as a staff member. So again, thank you all so much, and y'all have a great day.